Power Book 2 Ghost Episode 7 hit our screens a few short hours ago. We saw Tasha's case gain momentum with Pars's return, Kane's rebellion in full swing, Brayden and Tariq's relationship, and we saw Monet taking that shot that we saw in the mid-season trailer. I'm discussing everything that happened in Episode 7 in this review and recap, so welcome back to MovieBot. Let's talk about Power Book 2 Ghost Episode 7.
You don't have an appointment.
You aren't taking my calls.
I need someone who I will believe will say Tasha was the queen pin, but actually knows the truth about James St. Patrick.
But who's left that knows that for sure?
So I hope you're all doing great this morning, and it feels good to have Power back on Sundays, and it's picking up momentum with pretty much every storyline now. So if you're new to the channel and you want to see everything Power related, from review and recaps to storyline breakdowns, then remember to smash the subscribe button. And remember guys, I'll be releasing another video later on this evening talking about the main 3 points of the episode and basically what's most popular in the comment section. I'll be popping up your guys' comments in the video later today in the evening, just like I did last week. So remember to leave your thoughts and comments on the episode down below, and I'll be putting up and talking about as many as I can in the video later today. Now let's get straight into the episode review and recap, and this episode was titled Sex Week. And it was pretty obvious as to why, but this episode started with a lick that we saw in the mid-season trailer, and it was just a short-lived scene, and I'm not surprised because they gave us a lot in the mid-season trailer, but they didn't give us a lot, if that makes sense. What we originally thought was Brayden hitting this lick with Kane, it wasn't actually Brayden with Kane, it was just Kane with the GTG crew, and we don't know if it was Lil Guap because we never got to see the man behind the spiked balaclava. But again, this scene was very short-lived, and it may not have been Lil Guap. Kane may have just got a few of his boys to hit this lick with because he's bored, he feels like he's been pushed out by Monet. So let's carry on with Kane's storyline in this episode, because Diana asks Monet whether she's heard from Kane because the re-up's coming and Monet needs a man like Kane by her side, as we saw later on in the episode, a moment I'm going to come to later on in the video. But Diana tells Drew that she'll go and find Kane, which she did, and Kane said that he'll show, but he was actually picked up by this cop only to give the one man he's never liked a call, that's Officer Ramirez. He gets him off the hook, and when they're talking, Kane tells him that Monet doesn't need him anymore, that she's been changing her entire business by moving it over to Stansfield with Tariq, which is news to Ramirez. Kane tells Ramirez that it's either him or us, and now he's planted the seed in Ramirez's mind, which was further planted when Monet said Drew's getting rid of the body and that Tariq's with him. Ramirez and Kane gave each other this stare, and Kane is really about to fuck up the Todd organization because his rebellion hasn't finished, and I'm sure we're gonna see more of this in the next episode. But what was interesting, and it's something I brought up in the last episode, well after the last episode, because it was the choice of words that were used from Kane, Monet and Lorenzo, especially in episode 6, because Monet in this episode, when she was on the phone to Lorenzo near to the end of the episode, when she said Lorenzo went too far with Kane, Monet said, "He's mine." And again, Power really could be playing us, but it is really an interesting choice of words. But Monet taking that shot, which we saw in the mid-season trailer, was with this pussy DC Jones, who came to drop off some product. Monet shot him when Tariq popped up, and Drew and Tariq had to handle the body, and Drew said to Tariq, "You've never shot anyone before, have you?" And Tariq plays his cards really close to his chest, he really does. He never gives up much information. But let's talk about Tariq in this episode, because he wasn't really involved much in episode 6, but he was back in the action in this episode, and he was gutted that he wasn't one of the 5 that was chosen to move to the semi-finals of the fellowship program. Carrie caught up with him and Jabari looking on, and now he thinks that something's going on between Tariq and Carrie, when it's actually Zeke and Carrie. Jabari knocks on Carrie's door, sees the sports channel on TV, sees the folder in the corner of his eye, and knows that she's fucking with a student. But he's got it completely twisted. He doesn't even suspect Zeke, who is actually the one who's fallen for Carrie. But anyway, Jabari suspects Tariq, pulls Tariq in his office the next day and questions where he's been, what he's been up to, and looks like he's stuck on chapter 6 of his novel, and now he's asked Tariq to write a personal essay for Jabari on the nature of power, on relationships between him and his love interest, because he thinks Tariq is smashing Carrie, and he seems so sprung up on writing about Carrie. He thinks he can write about Carrie through Tariq. Unbeknown to him, it's actually Zeke who's Carrie's been smashing. Now this is something that isn't finished, because at some point Jabari will find out that it's Zeke and not Tariq, and then I wonder how he's going to react, because I'm sure we'll see more of Jabari and Tariq in the next episode too. So let's wait and see what this one's all about. But one good thing that came out of this episode between the professors is that Jabari was put in his place, rightfully so, when he wrote on Tariq's card that a professor's been sleeping with a student at Stansfield. Carrie put this right back on Jabari, telling him that it's him and he's been smashing Melissa, not the other way around. But one thing's for sure, this episode hasn't changed my opinion on either professors, and Jabari needs to go. But let's stick with Tariq and let's talk about what happened with Brayden in this episode, because Riley was questioning Brayden and what happened when he disappeared all day, and when Tariq walked in, you could really see how much he hates Riley. He does not like Riley at all, and especially after he followed her and found out that she is Cooper Sax's niece. He's finally found out that Riley is Sax's niece, and now he knows why she's been spending so much time up at Stansfield, and he actually throws a white lie towards Brayden, says that Riley's been hitting on him mainly to protect Brayden because he doesn't want to tell him the full truth that she's Sax's niece and she's probably only with him to get information from Tariq. And this is a similar trait that Ghost had with Tommy. Ghost used to keep some information from Tommy because he thought it was best that he didn't know everything, and this is something I feel Tariq does with Brayden, so I don't know whether you guys have picked up on this trait, but now that I've mentioned it, you may notice it in the episodes to come. But you could really see that Riley wanted to tell Tariq the truth and why she was really there with Tariq in Trace's room, but she couldn't because it would have just given a massive blowback if she did. And I actually wonder when and if Tariq is going to tell Brayden the full truth about what's going on, because I'm sure at some point Brayden has to find out that Riley was there to spy on Tariq, because I don't think Riley is out of the picture just yet. But now let's talk about Tasha's case, because we got the short teaser on Friday between Davis MacLean and Cooper Saxe plotting for which witness to have on their stand. Saxe reeled off a few names: Quinton, Elisa Marie Proctor, Kate Egan, and he said he needed someone that Stephen Ott would believe, who would say Tasha is the Queenpin but actually knows the truth about James St. Patrick. And I spoke heavily about two people in my video on Friday, Tommy and Paz, and it was actually Paz Valdez who returned to take the stand. But the plan that Davis MacLean and Saxe hadn't quite worked to plan, because I've said this before, Stephen Ott is putting pressure on Cooper Saxe and he's watching him like a hawk, and there was no way Saxe could get his ass handed to him like he did in the last episode. So when he was finished with Paz on the stand, he basically made Paz say that Tasha could have been the Queenpin of the organization. He said it was more likely that James St. Patrick, who was running for office, who was giving back to the community, is more likely that he ordered his death of your sister, the love of his life, or was it Tasha St. Patrick, who would have had everything to gain by Angela's death, and her and Tommy Egan conspired together to manipulate Paz. And when Tasha told Paz about Tommy killing Angela, Saxe said that Tasha knew that he was already gone and she thought of everything. And Saxe asked the question, isn't it possible that she was calling the shots the whole time? And after pressing Paz, he finally got her to say yes, she could have been the Queenpin, what Stephen Ott wanted. But MacLean did make his move and he said that he doesn't know who Saxe is fucking with. Both of them end up back at his office and he tells MacLean that he's found a direct line to taking Tariq down. He hands MacLean a folder, and what was in this folder? Epiphany Turner, who, let's not forget, was moving weight for Tasha in Power originally in season 6. So could Epiphany Turner be the slam dunk in this case? And let me know your overall thoughts on the episode. I'm going to be rewatching the episode before my second video tonight, before I give my overall review and thoughts on it, as well as going through the main topics of what you guys talk about in the comment section. So I'll be popping up your comments up on my video, so make sure you leave your thoughts and comments down below in the comment section. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, remember to smash the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.